Hi there, welcome to biology class. My name is Tamia Bright, and today we'll be talking about classification of living things. There are over 1.8 million living organisms. So biologists found a way to group them. One of such groupings is into 5 main groups. These groups are called kingdoms. These kingdoms are kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia, to which we belong. Today we'll be talking about the kingdom Monera. So we'll talk about the characteristic features of this kingdom. Kingdom Moneras are made up of cells that are prokaryotic. Generally, cells can be grouped as prokaryotes or eukaryotes, are based on the possession or non-possession of compartments, membrane-bound compartments. Cells that are classified as prokaryotes don't have membrane-bound compartments. So they are likened to one-room cabin. There is no bedroom, there is no sitting room. In one-room cabin, you sleep, you eat, you watch TV, everything is done there. So that's how you can liken a prokaryote to. Now, the characteristic features of moneras are they are single-celled. The organisms in kingdom Monera are single-celled. Some of them can move, so they are described as motile. Some of them cannot move, so they are described as non-motile. Another important feature is they don't have a defined nucleus. So what does it mean? They do have nucleic material, but the nucleic material is not within a membrane. It is just in the space of the cytoplasm of the cell. So they don't have a definite nucleus. Two important examples are bacteria. Examples of kingdom Monera are bacteria and cyanobacteria, a blue-green algae. Another name for blue-green algae is cyanobacteria. Cyan. So a quick recap. Living things can be classified into 5 groups, 5 kingdoms: kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia. And then the characteristic features of kingdom Monera are that they have single cells, they are motile, some are non-motile, they have no definite nucleus, and typical examples are bacteria and blue-green algae, also known as cyanobacteria. So we'll take on bacteria and talk about it briefly. The singular for bacteria is bacterium. And then what's the size like? How big is a bacteria? A bacteria is about 0.1 to 10 micron. That is 1 meter divided into 1 million places. 1 meter divided into 1 million places. If I want to illustrate how big it is, how big a bacteria is compared to humans, you should be talking about the size. If the size of a blackboard, a 2 meter blackboard, is as big as the width of my finger, then you take a needle and place it on the blackboard. The width of the needle, the size of the needle compared to a 2 meter length blackboard would be how, if my finger were a 2 meter length blackboard, the bacteria would be the size of the needle. That's how small. They are so small, we require high power microscopes to view them. So that's it about the size of bacteria. Then the shape of bacteria. Some of them have spherical shape. The ones with spherical shape are called coccus for singular and cocci for plural. Then some of them are rod-like. The ones that are rod-like are called bacillus. Bacillus for singular, bacilli for plural. Some of them are spiral in shape. And then how do they could actually exist as individual cells, and sometimes they exist like the spherical ones. The cocci can exist end to end to form streptococcus, while some of these cocci could also exist as clumps to form staphylococcus. Some of them are free living and can swim about. They can move, the ones that are motile. The ones that can move would have an appendage called the flagella for motility. Let me give you a generalized structure of what a bacteria looks like. Generally, let's take the bacilli that looks like a capsule. A bacteria would look like this rod shape. Outside of it, you would have this, not always, but most of the time, you have a slime capsule. And then inside, you have a wall, a cell wall, before you get to the cytoplasm. And then you could get coils of chromosomes just coiled around, Then you could also have the appendages for movement. So this is a generalized structure of what a bacteria looks like. Now, bacteria some of them make their own food. The ones that make their own food are called autotroph. They can make food from simple inorganic substances. Some of them depend on dead organic matter. And those ones that depend on dead organic matter are called saprophytes. They are decomposers. They are called saprophytes. They are very important because they help in decaying of dead organisms or dead matter. And then there's another group that they live within living organisms. Those ones are parasites, and they cause harm, of course. They can live in plants, they can live in animals and even humans and cause illnesses. So that's how they live. They are of importance of great economic importance because one, they cause diseases. Another thing is that they help in decaying process. If things die and they don't decay, they cannot add nutrients to the soil. So the decomposers play very important role in adding nutrients to the soil. And another important thing is they are used in our industries for some industrial processes. That's for the bacteria. The second example that are in this kingdom Monera, are the cyanobacteria or the blue-green algae. The blue-green algae. Another name for them will be cyanobacteria. They are usually photosynthetic. They make their food by using sunlight and combining it with water. You combining water and carbon dioxide in presence of sunlight to make carbohydrates. So they have chlorophyll, but they don't have chloroplast because they don't have membranes. Chloroplast is a membrane-bound organelle, so they don't have membrane-bound organelle. So the chloroplast, the chlorophyll is just within the space of the cell. So they make their own food, and they are found in freshwater, damp places. I actually got some scrape of blue-green algae. This one obviously is green algae. I found it on concrete wall. So you find them growing on concrete walls, on damp places, in freshwater, having this nice feel like a carpet. Very common around our environment. That's the blue-green algae. So in all, a typical example of blue-green algae is nostoc. They can live as single cells or they can live as colony covered with a slime. So in all, we have talked about classification of living things to say that living things are classified into 5 kingdoms: kingdom Monera, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, kingdom Plantae, and kingdom Animalia. And then we've concentrated on kingdom Animalia and Monera to say that kingdom Monera are made up of single cells, organisms that are single cell organisms. These single cells can either be motile or non-motile. We've also said that they don't have a definite nucleus. We've also said that a typical example will be bacteria or blue-green algae. We've talked about the bacteria, and we said some of them are spherical in shape, some of them are rod-like. And we've also talked about the cyanobacteria, which I showed you a typical example. So thanks for watching. If this video has been of any benefit to you, please press the subscribe button, share, like, and drop your comments. See you in the next class. Thank you.